Joining us now is attorney for Donald Trump and senior advisor for MAGA Inc., Alina Habba. Alina, thank you for coming back. Good to have you back again. Before we jump into this, I want you to see what I guess we would call it hypocrisy. Let me X that out. We will call this total unadulterated media bias. Listen.
In November, President Biden's lawyers found less than a dozen documents in an office he used in Washington and turned them over to the National Archives. That's about it.
That's not the sort of thing you need a special counsel for.
If you're a vice president or a president, you have a little more flexibility to move stuff around.
There's no crime, not by any person and with no relationship to Biden.
The Trump investigation and this Biden investigation are completely different. I think everyone understands that.
This couldn't look more worse, even though the cases are so different.
Completely different based on what the Biden team is telling us so far.
They couldn't be more different.
The facts are very, very different. Very different from what happened at Mar-a-Lago.
Two completely different situations.
Completely different. Completely different.
So completely different.
These two incidents are as different as night and day.
Okay, well, I beg to differ with all those left-leaning fools. How about you?
It is actually completely different. I agree with them. The difference is that the President Trump, was the president who could declassify documents, and Joe Biden was the vice president and couldn't declassify documents. That is about as different as it gets. Oh, wait, no, there is one more difference, Eric, and that is that he had them in his garage loosely where his son was living, evidently, and paying $49,000 in rent, probably trying to funnel money. So you're right, there are differences. One was done correctly, one was not. And the reality of the situation is that they needed to appoint a special counsel, and they do that when things aren't that different. You have to investigate him. I just don't understand why we are always treating the Democrats a little bit differently than the Trumps, if not a little bit, excuse me, a lot. But, you know, that's the only thing that's different, is the president had the right, he could declassify, and he had the Presidential Records Act in play. So, yeah, it's different, but it's different pro-Trump, not Biden.
So, you know, and let me just take it one step further. I'm going to guess, I'm going to guess Barack Obama has documents as well. So are you saying it's okay for him to have them because he was president when he took them? I'm going to say no. I'm going to say the left is going to say it's going to be different for Obama as well. And Trump is still somehow a bad guy.
That's exactly right. That's unfortunately the narrative that they keep doing. And they want to peddle this narrative that Democrats do everything right and Republicans don't. And I don't really see how they get around it. When you look at the timeline here, Eric, you know, they knew about it the second. They knew about it before midterm. They want to claim that they're going to go into the White House and have complete and utter transparency. Meanwhile, his spokesperson can't even answer a question straight without completely deflecting at all times. I like what's happening right now at the White House when they're asking her questions. I think they're pressing her. And the truth is that people are seeing it, whether the MSNBC, CNN, whether they want to peddle misinformation or not. I think that the American people get it. There is two people here. One handled things appropriately, one didn't. And at the end of the day, we need to investigate and find out what happened. Just like we should be investigating Hunter. I still don't understand why that hasn't moved faster.
Well, maybe they'll come full circle, investigate Hunter, and find out what he was paying $50,000 to rent the house that he was staying in with Joe Biden staying there with those documents there. And again, what's the link to China? There's a full circle link here, Alina. China donated somewhere around $15 million to the Biden Penn Center. China also gave Hunter Biden a lot of money to invest when he wasn't an investment advisor, earning Hunter Biden millions of dollars. Hunter Biden ends up at the house with some other classified documents as well. No, there's a common denominator.
Right, and he's probably doing his artwork. Right. He's doing his artwork there, then selling it back to China to get money back to his father, what God knows what. I mean, we've seen so many facts trickle in on what is happening with this Hunter Biden and Joe Biden family in general, and everything, including the documents and where the documents were related to. You know, the Ukraine, you have China, you have documents related to things that they have been directly pinned to in the past, but while we didn't have the House, we couldn't investigate. Well, now hopefully times will change. I like the transparency that we're actually seeing coming out of the House with Kevin McCarthy. So let's hope that, you know, they stay on this and get to the bottom of it.
You know what? You know what they say, Alina? If it walks like a Peking duck, quacks like a Peking duck, it's a Peking duck. And I'm talking about Hunter.
It's a duck.
Alina Habba, thank you for joining us. Thanks for being here.
Thanks, Eric.
Hey guys, it's Rob Carson. Your retirement funds are being threatened with even more losses from record inflation, recession, and skyrocketing interest rates. Fortunately, the highly trained specialists at American Hartford Gold can show you how to protect your savings and retirement accounts by diversifying your portfolio with physical gold and silver. If you call them right now, as a special offer, they will give you a free gold coin on your first qualifying order, so don't wait. Call 866-935-4309. That's 866-935-4309, or text Newsmax to 65532. That's Newsmax to 65532.